Okay, two topics today. First one might create a bit of might aggravate a few people because I don't know if this is true. This is just what I'm thinking at the minute. Okay, it's just because it came to my mind the other day. This time of year where we're living at the moment, the winter is a beautiful time of year. Okay, last year the winter, it was like 27 degrees of the day, clear skies, the sun was out. Sun was a winter sun, so it was more you could stay in it for longer. It felt really good. It was cool of a night. But it's predicted to be a wet winter. Don't know that for sure, and that's okay. But I have definitely noticed, and obviously we all know this, this is not anything new here, but I've definitely noticed that my body and my mind definitely feel different, like noticeably different. The more in tune I'm getting with my body, the more I'm noticing that how different my body feels when it doesn't get as much sun. Okay, now I can't remember the researcher, but there is a researcher out there who said you can tell by someone's health by the color of their skin. Okay, if they're pale. Now just remember this, I have met people who are Lebanese, Greek, Italian, even black, right? And they can look pale. Okay, so even if your skin is naturally brown, you can still look pale. I used to work in a place, and the security guard used to do nights, and he'd always moan about how rough he'd feel, and then he would just smash coffees all the time. And when we'd get in work at like 6 in the morning, he'd be finishing his shift. And I remember one day, it was like an ongoing joke he had. The barista who made this coffee had come in, and in like an hour's time, by the time we got there, we got our gear, we signed in, he was saying that in that morning, he was on something like his 7th or 8th shot of coffee. And then he was saying, I've got to try and go home now and get some sleep because I've got nights again tonight. Now he was like Lebanese, or he was Italian, he was something like that. And he had these black rings around his eyes, obviously olive skin, but he looked pale. So all this, there's nothing healthy about a tan, which when you look at the bigger picture, they weaponize our food. Everything's inverted, okay? If we stay out in the sun all day, is that good for us? Well, no, because we need balance with everything. So, but nothing healthy about a tan I'm on the fence with, because look at how we observe it in nature. Do we feel good when we've been in the sun and we've got a tan? Yeah, we feel good. It's not because of what we look like exterior, because on the outside we look brown and we might look cool. It's got nothing to do with that. That might play a part in it, actually. But it's not all about that. You feel good when you've got a tan. You feel healthy when you're on holiday. And I'm just noticing anyway how my body definitely feels different not having as much sun. So the topic I was thinking of sharing is sunbeds. Okay, solariums, are they good for you? Now, to say they're good for you, I wouldn't go that far, because it's artificial. I'm not saying things that are artificial can't be good for you. Everything has its role in nature. So I wouldn't go as far as say it's definitely good for you. You know, loads of people jumping on saying, no, it gives you skin cancer and all that. But I think it could if you abused it and you had an unhealthy lifestyle. But if I lived in a climate that was like England is in the winter, or you know, these really cold parts of the world that don't really have much sun, these miserable weathered parts of the world, one, I've been doing spiritual work in terms of calling the soul, the information of the sun to bless me. But I would definitely get 3 things I would have that are not necessarily natural, but we can use them to our advantage, is an ice bath, a sauna, and a solarium. Because I had a little look into it, and you do get some form of vitamin D. It's not the same as the sun, I'm not saying it is. And you do get some health benefits, okay? Helping blood flow and things like that. and it can help boost your mood. Okay, vitamin D is definitely connected to mood. So I think if you had a sunbed for just 3 minutes, just a small, in the winter times, if you did small stints of sunbed, just like a 3 minute a day even, or even less, just heat it up, get on it, and just consciously breathe in there. I think it could be good for your overall health. Don't take my word for it. I haven't done much research in this, but I remember when I had sunbeds or solariums back in England, I used to love going on them. Now, I had a big ego then, I probably did like having a tan, but I used to enjoy the process. I used to enjoy lying on them, and they used to feel nice in them. And there's obviously something to that. So that's just something that was on my head that I thought I'd get out. Another thing is taking aged urine, okay? Aged urine is, a lot of people talking about it, aged urine's benefits, because over time it increases in alkalinity, oxidation, and negative ion charge, which can all be measured by you. You can actually measure these quite easily. And urine's quite unique. As it ages, it kills off any bacteria in there that's bad over time. So meaning urine therapy is good, okay? But let's say you're on a lot of medication and there's some traces of your medication in your urine. If you leave it, a book I've just read, gentlemen saying if you leave the aged urine, as the alkalinity rises, any waste that's artificial in there, like medication, just gets changed. Basically, it just becomes purer and purer and purer. It doesn't matter if you're on medication. It also, as research saying, it turns into like humus, okay, because it's not a liquid. So let's say you can do your own research on that. I'm not going into aged urine now, but is aged urine harder to take? Well, yeah, probably is, okay? So this is my suggestion on how to take aged urine if you're not used to it and you struggle with normal urine. Get a jar of urine, okay? And I would suggest getting a jar of urine that's probably your best. So maybe hydrate yourself throughout the day, and then the next day either catch your morning urine, or like hydrate in the morning and then catch your urine that's quite clear, and leave it for 2 to 4 weeks. Okay, it doesn't have to be in the fridge, just in a cupboard, and keep burping it. Okay, keep letting the air out. When that's ready, I would put that aged urine, a few drops of that, in fresh urine. Okay, so fresh urine, weigh into a cup, or even just a little bit, just a few drops. Put a few aged urine drops to it, because this is something that's fascinating, right? Let's say you had aged urine and it smelled bad, right? Fresh urine cancels out, neutralizes the smell. Okay, so you could put that in filtered water. So you've got some fresh urine, you've got aged urine in water, or even in like an apple juice to start with. Dilute it down. So what you would do is you would increase your fresh urine and keep small amounts of aged urine until it gets to the point where you can basically have equal aged and fresh, until the point you have just fresh on its own if you want it, and just aged if you want it, because they both have benefits. So that's just something I wanted to just throw in there. All good. I love you all. Take care.